Well, hi there. I am Andrew Watkins, and if you're listening to this while juggling 3 patient calls, checking in a couple patients, taking a payment, selling skincare, and trying to catch your doctor in between procedures, you might be working in an aesthetic practice.
And I'm Blake Lucas, and this is Practice Land. This is not your doctor's podcast. Welcome back to Practice Land. Thank you so much for tuning in. Appreciate everyone out there that's listening, and please remember to share Practice Land with your friends and coworkers. Really excited, of course, to have one of our favorite guests back today. Heather Hughes-Hardy is a former COO, registered nurse who partners with practices to take big ideas and make them work in real life and ultimately drive profitability that lasts. Heather, so happy to have you here. Hello.
Hello, thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Today, we're talking about the emotional impact of patients or team criticism and how to prevent that from spiraling into your own insecurity, resentment, or burnouts. Heather, what are some strategies you have for handling this?
Yeah, I think this is such an important topic, and honestly, something that I wish more people would talk about earlier on in my career. I personally am a little bit more
Yeah.
of a sensitive person, and I got some feedback pretty early on when I came into the aesthetics field about myself that I took really personally. I asked a surgeon
Oh,
that I was
wow.
working with. He was training at a company here in Austin, and then he was going to be moving out to Houston to really establish his practice. And so at that time that we were making the transition, I asked him to give me some feedback, about how I had done as his nurse, as I was going to be moving into a different role with a different company. And
Mm,
he gave me something really, really valuable. I feel like so often people don't necessarily give you candid feedback, but what he told me was, I can tell that you really care. But oftentimes, when I tell you what I need to change or what I'd like differently, it's almost hard for me to give you feedback because you seem to take it too personally. And of course, what
oh,
did I
wow.
do? I took that really
Took that
personally.
personally. Oh, the
um,
irony. Oh, no.
yeah. But after I had some time to kind of sit and think about it, I realized that there really were some big changes that I needed to make because I am someone that
Mm,
cares very deeply about how I perform and how my performance affects others and what my work ethic looks like. And so I did a lot
yeah.
of work in kind of taking on what I like to call radical accountability. And that's in any situation, I
Hmm.
always want to do just a little bit better than I did last time. Every single day, I want to be a little bit better. And so, if there's an area that someone's bringing to me that they want change, instead of
Yeah.
thinking about what did I do wrong, I want to sit down and think about what could I possibly do better, even if I did nothing wrong? How could have done this better? And that has changed my career so much.
Wow. I absolutely love that. I think there's for me what kind of strikes true in that story too is just the moment of self-awareness, right? Where
Mhm,
like there's a spark that kind of gets lit from a mentor or someone that you obviously look up to and they give you that piece of feedback
mhm,
as difficult as that is probably in the moment to hear, right? It might be a bit crushing at times,
mhm.
but hopefully they deliver it in a way that is a little bit easier. But
Right.
I think it's that moment of self-awareness that all of a sudden sparks the growth. Now all
Mhm,
of a sudden it's like, okay, I want to be better every single day. Like, how do I
mhm,
do that? How do people perceive me, or how do like am I seen as like someone that's really hardworking and resourceful and
mhm,
all those different types of things? And then
mhm,
immediately now, okay, I can start creating a game plan of how I can get
mhm.
better at those areas where I'm not so great. If you don't mind, tell me maybe a little bit about what was going through your mind right after that interaction, like right when they gave you that tough feedback.
I almost don't wanna admit it, but the immediate thought that I had was like, "What, you don't want me to care? Like, you don't want me to, like, care
Yeah.
so much? Is that what you're trying to say?"
Hmm.
And that was the absolute wrong reaction, but in having had that happen to myself and knowing that that
Hmm.
is how I reacted, I've actually had 2 at least 2, and I'm sure several more, but 2 that really are strong memories within my mind of
Mm.
colleagues that I've worked with. They've been my direct reports, and I've had the opportunity to give them very similar feedback because they were such hardworking, great employees that had very emotional reactions anytime that they got feedback. And so being able to
Wow.
have been that person myself, I was able to coach them through that. And both of those employees were able to level up and continue promoting within their own careers. And so that has been
Amazing.
so invaluable to me because it feels like that hard feedback has not only helped me, but so many other people that then I've been able to turn it back to because they're people that care. They're people that really want to do well, but they have to learn how to receive feedback.
Wow, what an impact that's had, like a kind of that butterfly effect as it
Right.
just like spreads and it keeps going. That's amazing. Kind of switching gears a little bit, I guess. How do you separate what's worth taking accountability for from what's just someone maybe projecting their own frustrations on you?
Yeah, it's taking a turn, but it still definitely kind of folds back in, right? So when a
Hmm.
problem is presented to you, whether it's something that's like, Heather, you missed XYZ on the checklist, or Heather, this patient's upset about whatever it is, whether it's something that I did personally or a situation that went wrong, instead of looking at again what I did wrong or what was going wrong was how could this situation have been handled better? And keeping that at the
Yeah.
forefront of your mind. Okay, here's the checklist. Here's the steps that need to go into it. Why did XYZ get
Mhm.
missed? Or here's the checklist. Every single step was checked off, but the result didn't end up the way that it was supposed to. How could I have done this better? How could I have anticipated whatever it is in the situation? And also being okay with,
Mhm.
well, I did do everything to the best of my ability, and I'm going to sit with that and be okay with it because it's what you do have
Mhm.
to recognize when you have done your best.
I think that kind of leads right into, and it's the probably one of the more top of mind questions for myself is
Mhm.
how do you keep that interaction from affecting the rest of your day or your interaction with the rest of your team and your job and the quality of work that you're providing?
Yeah, I think there's 2 avenues to go about with it, and that is
Mhm.
if you're someone that needs to vent, let yourself do that for a timed period. If you need 2 minutes to go to
Yep.
the bathroom and stomp your foot and be upset about it, let yourself do that.
Yeah.
Or you have a good
Hmm.
friend that you work with that is a professional friend that will also let you vent and then let it go. You can definitely do
Yep.
that. Or there are times too when you need to just pocket it and go about your day.
Hmm.
And so that one can be a little bit harder to do. So I think, especially when we're working in aesthetics, almost always it's not a life threatening situation, especially when you're working on my side of the floor, which is like the more administrative side. Let yourself
Yeah.
take 2 minutes, take a deep breath, and then get back to what you need to be
Right.
doing.
So, what do you say to your team when they're feeling kind of personally attacked or shaken after a situation like this? Like, what's the advice that you give to those that are working for you?
Yeah, something that I've kind of learned to do is so often people will feel personally attacked and they will
Hmm.
start saying things like, well, I didn't do XYZ or, well, I did XYZ. And they go into that verbiage and you just call it out directly. It sounds like
Yeah.
you're feeling like this is really personal to you. Is that true? Like, is
Hmm.
that how you're feeling? And then get them to start verbalizing it and then get really granular with them to see, like, is there, like, I'm not saying that you did anything wrong whatsoever, but are there any areas here where you see that you could have potentially have handled it differently or you could have anticipated XYZ? Like, kind of guide them through that process that you've
Hmm.
learned to do on your own, right? To help
Right.
them through it, but in a way that doesn't seem super attacking. Is like, well, you should have done XYZ, but kind of guide them through it. Let them verbalize what opportunity could have happened.
I think this is great advice, even just for myself. I'm excited to actually to put this into practice. Um, Thinking about that too, and something I always want to provide to our listeners is something real, something they can action on and put forth, maybe in their next conversation with a colleague or even their next like consultation with a patient. So give us that. What is the one thing that you would want us to take away from our conversation today?
Yeah, I would say really challenge yourself to start shifting your mindset and take an opportunity every single day, whether it's at the beginning of your day, reviewing the day prior, or at the end of the day, and think about what you could have done potentially throughout the day to have had a better day or a more successful
Mm,
day. Like start seeing that and creating it as a part of your process so that when situations do arise, you've already trained yourself for how you want to be thinking about it. That's what I did. And it was
yeah,
super, super helpful for me. It's almost like a gratitude practice. The more good you see,
yeah.
the more good will come. The more opportunity that you see for yourself to improve, the more that you will improve.
Wow. Yeah, absolutely. It's a great idea at the end of the day too, just to be so deliberate with some time, just to set
Mhm.
that aside to do something like that, and how quickly you can start to see the results from,
Mhm.
a quick meditation like that, or just a focus on what's happened throughout the day and where we maybe let someone down, or maybe we did an amazing job and kind of feel our own gratitude, or like, hey, yeah, I feel confident that we did a great job. Thank you, Heather, for all of that. This has been fantastic. I really hope our listeners are taking this to heart and putting these things into action. Remind us too, where can we follow you and learn more about what you got going on?
Yeah, I'm on Instagram at Heather Hughes-Hardy, same name on LinkedIn. And then I also have a patient care coordinator program on thecoreitmethod.com.
Fantastic. And of course, listeners, if you've got a question for Heather that you'd like for her to answer on the show, please send us a message at practicelandpodcast.com. Thank you all again for joining us in Practice Land. We can't wait to see you again next time. Have a great one. Got a wild customer service story or a sticky patient situation? Send us a message or voicemail. If your tale makes it into our She Did What segment, we'll send a thank you gift you'll actually love. Promise, no cheap swag here.
Are you one of us? Subscribe for new episode notifications and more at practicelandpodcast.com. New episodes drop weekly on YouTube and everywhere you can listen to podcasts.